There is only one essential thing that makes you successfully settle in a new country. Everything else can come later. Your new work is an essential part of your life in the new country. Therefore, for you to develop your nice lifestyle, you have to find a nice working place and interact with the people around you. Here, I'm going to show you how to search for your new working opportunity in Canada. You have here 1. Job searching rule. 2. Templates. 3. Tips. These videos will help you to find and get your work, adjust yourself to it, and settle in your new Canadian life. 1. Job searching rule. Job searching rule explanation. Common interview questions. Here are some of the most common interview questions you may encounter. Tell me about yourself. How would you describe yourself? What makes you unique? Why do you want to work here? What interests you about this role? What motivates you? What are you passionate about? Why are you leaving your current job? What are your greatest strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your goals for the future? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Can you tell me about a stressful work situation and how you overcame it? What is your salary range expectation? Why should we hire you? Do you have any questions? What did you like most about your last position? What did you like least about your last position? How do you handle stress? What is your greatest accomplishment? 1. Tell me about yourself. Begin with an overview of your current position, then focus on relevant highlights from your background. If you have any unique hobbies or interests, you can share them here. Example: I serve as the assistant to 3 of my company's 5 executive team members, including a CEO. By anticipating roadblocks, I've created effective alternate plans. I thrive on making sure every day has a clear, well-communicated structure. 2. How would you describe yourself? The interviewer is looking for ways you stand out and think about yourself. Share 2 to 3 unique traits that you think make you a good fit. Example: I am hardworking and a team player. In the past, I've made sure my team was successful in their projects and took measures to ensure everyone was on board with any changes. 3. What makes you unique? Focus on why you are the ideal candidate for the position. Sharing a unique hobby or skill is beneficial to helping you stand out. Example: because I have had practice fielding shoppers' questions, feedback and complaints, I know what customers expect in the retail world. I use my own talents as a shopper to determine what customers may need in the future. 4. Why do you want to work here? Do some research on the products, services, mission, history, and culture of the workplace. If there is something that stands out to you, be sure to share it. Example: your company's dedication to helping college graduates pay off their student loans speaks to me. I'd love to work with a company that's making a difference in this way. 5. What interests you about this role? Read the job description carefully and identify the role requirements that match your strengths. Focus on things you excel at in your answer. Example: I really like that this position focuses on client-patient interactions. I went into pediatric medicine to help children, and being able to have a forward-facing role in seeing patient outcomes brings me joy. 6. What motivates you? Be as specific as possible. Provide real-life examples and relate your answer to the job role. Example: making a difference in the lives of patients motivates me. An 8-year-old in my care experienced rapid weight gain with signs of depression. His parents described him as a usually joyful child. We determined that it was hypothyroidism, which is controllable with medication. The boy has regained his positive outlook thanks to the treatment I prescribed. Outcomes like that are why I am pursuing a position in pediatrics. 7. What are you passionate about? Select something that drives you and explain why you're passionate about it. If you have a unique experience, mention it. Example: salon life is my passion. I strive to create a welcoming environment for all clients. My specialized training and interpersonal skills help me cultivate long-term, trusted relationships. 8. Why are you leaving your current job? Prepare an answer that will give your interviewer confidence that you're deliberate about this job change. Focus on the future and what you hope to gain in your next position. Example: I'm looking for an opportunity that gives me the ability to build long-term relationships with clients. Relationship building is one of the reasons I chose a career in sales. I look forward to working with a company where that's a top priority. 9. What are your greatest strengths? Share qualities and personal attributes that relate to the role for which you're interviewing. If you have a story that demonstrates your skills, be sure to share it. Example, I'm a natural problem solver and I love listening. I work really well in a team environment. When our company had an issue between two clients, I was able to quickly resolve the situation in a friendly manner. 10. What are your weaknesses? Sharing your weaknesses shows that you are self-aware. Be honest about how you have worked through challenging experiences. If possible, include how you've improved on these over time. Example, earlier in my career, I was so enthusiastic about my work that I would say yes when I should have been saying no. Being overwhelmed, the stress affected my production quality. I started using workload management tools to tailor more realistic goals. 11. What are your goals for the future? The best way to handle this question is to express how this role aligns with your ultimate goals. If the company has a core value that matches yours, you can include it in your answer. Example, one of the reasons I'm interested in working for a fast-growing startup company is that I'll have the ability to wear many hats and collaborate with a variety of departments. My ultimate goal is to lead a marketing department. 12. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Provide general ideas about the skills you want to develop, the types of roles you would like to be in, and things you would like to have accomplished. Example, in 5 years, I'd like to be an industry expert in my field, able to train and mentor students and entry-level designers alike. I feel that I will be able to grow with this company to achieve my goals. 13. Can you tell me about a stressful work situation and how you overcame it? Keep in mind that stories are more memorable than facts and figures. This is also an excellent opportunity to demonstrate your human side and how you're willing to take the initiative without being asked. Example, it was the first day of my boss's 2-week vacation. Our agency's highest-paying client threatened to leave because he didn't feel he was getting the personalized service we promised him. I spent my lunch hour on the phone with him, talking through his concerns. We even brainstormed ideas for his next campaign. He was so grateful for the personal attention that he signed another 6-month contract before my boss even returned from her trip. 14. What is your salary range expectation? Research the typical compensation range for the role. Lean toward the higher side of your range. Be sure to let the hiring manager know if you're flexible with your rate. Example, my salary expectation is between $40,000 and $50,000. However, I am flexible. 15. Why should we hire you? Address the skills and experience you offer and why you're a good fit with your prospective employer's culture. Example, I have a passion for application development that's grown stronger over the course of my career. I want to work for a company that has the potential to reshape the industry, and I believe you're doing just that. 16. Do you have any questions? Take time to ask the interviewer questions about their experience and the company. This is also a good time to ask about expectations for performance in the role. Example, what do you love about working for this company? Or what are some of the challenges people typically face in this position? 17. What did you like most about your last position? Tie your answer to the company's needs. Focus on highlights of your track record at your last job and be as specific as possible. Example, what I liked most about my last position was the opportunity to collaborate with other teams. We once worked with a client who was relying on us to solve a critical issue. After I recommended a plan for our team to resolve the issue, we took time considering the pros and cons of the solution. When we implemented it, it worked better than everyone expected. The client was very pleased. 18. What did you like least about your last position? Keep your answer positive. Focus on your career growth and enthusiasm for joining their organization. Example, I enjoyed the opportunities for learning and growing in my last job. I hope to bring that enthusiasm for learning to the position here as well. 19. What is your greatest accomplishment? Think of a few achievements that you may be proud of that best showcase your work ethic and values. Example, in my last role, I managed all social media content. I noticed other brands were experimenting with videos and seeing great engagement from their customers, so I asked my boss if we could do a low-budget test. I produced a video cheaply in-house that drove double the engagement we normally saw on our social channels. In 2 months, 30% more viewers visited our website. Have the other related videos come to you? They will help you to move and adjust yourself to your new life here in Canada. You do not want to miss this opportunity to educate yourself. Hit the subscribe button and the bell icon and go with us on this journey. 2. Templates. Templates texts. How to write a curriculum video, CV, template, May 6, 2021 by Indeed editorial team. When applying for a job, you're likely going to be asked to submit a resume or curriculum video, CV, as part of your application. It's important to clarify which format an employer is looking for because there are a few differences between a resume and a curriculum video, CV. Ensuring that you're using the right format to showcase your work experience to an employer will set you up for success. In this article, we explain how to select a CV template with well-organized sections that you can modify to suit your needs. What's the difference between a resume and a CV? The main difference between a resume and a CV is the length. A resume showcases your career highlights, qualifications, and competencies and is typically no more than a page or two. On the other hand, a CV has no length limit and provides more in-depth information about your educational and professional history. A CV focuses on credentials you've obtained that will help you perform the job well. Why is a CV template important? A CV allows you to present your entire educational and professional history to a potential employer. Because there's no limit to how long a CV can be, it's helpful to use a template to showcase your experience in the most clearly laid out and attention-grabbing way possible. Having a well-organized CV makes it easier for an employer to review and determine if you're the right fit for the role. Using a template also makes it easier to continuously update your CV as you gain more experience or complete more courses. Some advanced roles may require more detail, qualifications, and work history, and therefore, a longer CV. In that case, you may choose to include a summary. A CV summary is a short document that quickly relays your skills and qualifications. If a large organization is sifting through many applicants, it may initially request a CV summary before asking for the full version. When is the best time to use a CV template? While resumes tend to be more popular with employers in Canada, there are times where a CV is preferred. Some international positions prefer a CV to get a better idea of your entire history. People who work in academia, scientific research, or the medical community are more likely to use CVs. If you work in academia, a CV is meant to highlight any papers you've published. You may also wish to include any courses you've taken that are relevant to the position. Below we've included a CV template for academia. If you've chosen a career in the medical sector, a CV is a great way to highlight any studies you've been part of, research papers you've contributed to, outstanding cases you've worked on, or discoveries you've made. A CV template is also helpful when applying to a graduate program. Unlike a career in academia, a CV for graduate school includes specific courses, grades, and at times, any associations you've been a member of. Therefore, the CV template for applying to graduate school looks slightly different than a professional one. Instead of listing your accomplishments in chronological order, you may choose to highlight your most relevant or popular papers first. What do I include in a CV template? The first step to choosing a CV template is to narrow down what your CV is going to be used for. Lots of CV templates are available for free online or with popular programs like Microsoft Office. Once you've determined the purpose of the CV, look for a template that includes all the important and relevant information required. You can use the examples below as a guide to get you started. 1. Contact information. It's important to include your contact information at the very top of your CV so the employer can quickly reference it if they need to reach out. Including your contact information also helps the employer to remember to contact you while sifting through other applications. Here are some items to include in your contact information: name, address, home phone number, mobile phone number, email, personal website, online portfolio, Social media handles. 2. Personal information. If you plan on applying to a position outside Canada, it may be best to include particular, personal information on your CV. It's important to note that you do not have to include any personal information that you're not comfortable divulging. Some examples of the personal information you can include on your CV are given below. Note that some countries don't accept CVs that list birthdays, gender, or marital status, as it may conflict with discrimination laws, so make sure to research how a specific country structures its CVs before getting started. Birthday, gender, citizenship status, visa status, marital status. 3. Professional experience. Of course, the most important thing to include on your CV is your professional experience. This information will make up the majority of your CV. When writing about your professional experience, try to focus on the most relevant information from the past 10 years. However, if there are outstanding achievements beyond that, you can include them as well. If you're applying to a more technical position, such as a scientific researcher, focus your professional experience section on the duties performed in your previous positions. If, however, you're applying to an academic position, the professional experience section should focus on research papers, publications, and coursework. 4. Education and coursework. This is where you list out the institutions you attended and the degrees you've obtained. If you're applying for a job in academia, then this section might have a little more information than a CV for a technical position. Be sure to list the name of the school you attended and the year you graduated. If you're still pursuing a degree or course, simply list it as in progress, year started to present, or expected end in the year, so the employer knows you haven't graduated yet, but when you will. 5. Publications. Whether you're applying to a position in academia, medicine, or general business, this is where you list any of your published works. This can be in the form of a blog, book, academic website, newspaper, magazine, or other resources. Be sure to look for a CV template that allows you to include either a link or a place where the employer can read the piece themselves should they wish to look it up. 6. Certifications and skills. All CV templates include a space for you to list your certifications and skills. While you should include skills in your professional experience section as you list out the duties, this would be a good place to focus on other soft skills. When listing certifications, you may also wish to list the date you received them. This gives the employer a better idea of how recent and relevant they are. 7. Community service. While not always necessary, it's great to include any community service in your CV if it relates to the position you're applying to. If you're continuously volunteering, list it as ongoing. 8. Interests and hobbies. This section is also not always included in a CV template. However, if you have interests and hobbies that relate to the position you're applying for, you can include them here. Your interests should relate to the skills you've listed previously as well. In Canada, this section is sometimes included in CVs, but employers prefer to focus on professional experience, so if you choose to include it, keep it short. CV templates. While most CVs share the same basic structure, the organization and content of a CV depend on the type of position you apply for. When organizing your CV, list the most relevant sections first to catch an employer's attention, whether that's your work history or an impressive list of publications. Here are some CV templates for different situations. Again, keep in mind to research what information can be included in CVs in specific countries. International CV template: name, address, phone number, email, personal information, birthday, birth country, citizenship status, visa status, gender, marital status, professional history, name of most recent position, start date, end date, name of organization or employer, brief description of job duties, use short phrases to be as succinct as possible, education, type of degree, major and minor, name of school, date of attendance, skills and certifications, use bullets to list your skills, list the specific name of your certification and the organization that provided the certification. Words, community service, memberships, interests, choose specific interests that differentiate you from other applicants. Academic CV template: name, address, phone number, email, education, type of degree, major and minor, name of school, date of attendance, publications, conference presentations, include the name and date of the conference, professional history, name of most recent position, start date, end date, name of organization or employer, skills and certifications, awards, memberships, example CV. Here is a sample CV you can use as a reference when writing your own. Jody Smith, 1802 Yonge Street, Toronto, Ontario, M428H8, 647-583-2666, jody.smith@gmail.com, education, Bachelor of Science, University of Toronto, major in biology, minor in communications, August 2015, May 2020, publications, The History of Microbiology and Popular Culture undergraduate. Science Journal, 2019, 112-181, Engaging Young Learners with Biology, Journal of Elementary Education, 2020, 293-297, Conference Presentations, Engaging Learners on the History of Microbiology, Canadian Medical Association Conference, May 2020, Professional History, Research Assistant, June 2016 September 2017, University of Toronto Biology Department, planned lab experiments, monitored safety measures, compiled complex data into brief reports. Get all the videos and you can increase your knowledge on how to contact your future employer in Canada. How to write a nice resume and cover letter, and to search for a nice job. 3. Tips. Free tips. Why is an exit interview important? Organizations that strive for innovation and employee satisfaction often want to know what drives their employees to consider positions at other organizations. Asking employees is the best way to get that information. By analyzing that information and reviewing it carefully, companies can correct problems early on and do better than competitors. They can get more information about the experiences of employees, the behavior of their supervisors, ways to make procedures fairer and more efficient and more. Taking on new hires is an expensive process, and organizations will often incur more costs if those new employees choose to leave early on. Asking the right questions and turning that data into actionable solutions can be an effective tool to prevent similar occurrences in the future. Example answers to common exit interview questions. Understanding how to clearly and effectively answer questions leads to better exit interviews. The following list provides example questions with tips on how to approach them. Why are you leaving your job? Your employer might ask why you are leaving to discover if you have received an offer for a better position or you just feel like pursuing a different career. Try to keep a balance between politeness and honesty when you answer this question. If applicable, talk about the skills and experience you are hoping to receive from your next job, as well as what you learned at your current job. Example: the issue I brought up previously has been going on for quite some time now. Although I still try my best to work around it, it places a hindrance on my work output. I have enjoyed working here, and I have learned a lot of useful information during my employment. However, I have achieved everything that I can in this role. While I have received valuable experience for the future, I feel that the time is right to increase my experience level, improve my abilities and advance my career. What caused you to leave? If applicable, use this question to get to the core of the issue and let employers know when and why you decided to look for other opportunities. You can let your former employer know when your job started to be less satisfying and point to areas where improvement is necessary. Example: I experienced recurring difficulties with software after a company upgrade. Although I mentioned this issue repeatedly, no fixes were provided. Since it continues to impact my performance, I believe I would have more opportunities to advance my career at an organization that keeps up with changes in technology. Did you feel you were well equipped to do your job? A question like this can help companies retain employees and make sure that they have the most skilled workers. For example, if company software doesn't work at the highest standard, the manager can take immediate action to rectify that situation. Example: in most cases, yes. However, our computers would have benefited from software upgrades. Increased speed and performance would positively impact our productivity. How would you describe the company culture? This is another question where managers can try to identify trends over time. These trends help to identify employee concerns, and they can help separate legitimate problems from personal opinions. Example, we tend to have a very friendly atmosphere. Management could be a bit less harsh when things go wrong, but as long as you do the job well, they keep to themselves. What are your opinions about management policies, and do you have any suggestions for how we can improve? This question gives you the chance to help your former employer see the situation from your view. Stay fair and objective when you share feedback. Be specific, stay calm, use positive language when possible, and focus on making the company better for future employees. Example, overall, I was satisfied with the way that management helped me in my job, but there is still some room for improvement. Employee turnover in my department is high, and we sometimes feel overworked because of the number of open positions. However, if the company empowers new employees to feel welcome and independent from the start and makes training for new hires more extensive, it can become more successful by using their innovative ideas, high productivity and enthusiasm to add value to the company. This seems like a better solution than waiting for vague directives and struggling to stay on schedule. When have you felt proud about your accomplishments with the company? This is an excellent time for you to share a good experience that you had with the business and remind managers about how you helped achieve goals, reduce costs, and increase efficiency. Everyone wants to know when they get things right, including your manager, and acknowledging the positive aspects of your position can make people more willing to correct problems. Example, the work for the last client took a bit more time than we planned, but they were impressed with how thorough and detailed we were. It made me very proud to be a part of the team. Do you feel that you received complete, thorough training? Businesses want their employees to feel confident and prepared for their positions. By talking about your experiences as a new employee, you can help future hires and the company. If you were not confident or your training was not thorough, let your former employer know. Share some practical ideas so that future workers can be better prepared. Example, the best thing that you can do for new hires is to ensure that they know their roles and give them the tools needed to do their job. I did not always feel as though I had all of the resources I needed to do my job well, so I think that new employees can benefit from more frequent training. The company computer system is very complex, but trainers only spent about 20% of the class teaching us the procedures we needed to complete customer requests quickly and correctly. Regular continuing education and updates about future changes can also help employees complete their tasks well. Do you think the business supported you and your career goals? When you answer this question, try to let your employer know how they met or exceeded your expectations and helped you. Think about the times when you received additional training or education and give feedback about when you felt supported and when you did not. Example, when I started working here, I was very excited for an opportunity to advance my position and increase my experience and knowledge. While the business has given me some chances to learn useful information, I have not accomplished many of my career goals. I would like to stay with the organization, but there are more opportunities for advancement in the industry at competitors. Tips to prepare for an exit interview. Keep these points in mind when you consider the answers for your exit interview. Be objective. Do your best to keep your focus on the position. Discuss the business as a whole instead of the individuals who work there. Prepare your answers. Think about what you should say before the interview and prepare some talking points. You can also ask a friend or coworker for help. Take some notes. Creating a detailed record of the exit interview will help you recall what you and the interviewer talked about and provide an accurate record. Consider your body language. Before the interview, take some deep breaths and do your best to relax. That way, you can remain focused and calm. Also, pay attention to nonverbal signals from interviewers. Now that you have some examples and tips here, you are better prepared to join us and write your story. Ask whatever you want in the comments and we will do our best to answer you. I will have you in our next video. Bye for now.